This was a good moment, wasn't it? When Yang had finished and he gave the crowd a little bow and then was applauding. And Danno, as an adopted Korean, did that make your chest fill with pride?
His last two appearances have been absolutely sensational. We were talking about Maeda's goal earlier and how they had switched wings. That's one thing that Yang can do really, really well. He can play the left or the right. And yeah, it was just great to see him string a couple really, really solid performances together because he's a player, man, for sure. And of course, my now half Korean heart sang with joy.
Brilliant. Okay, here's a tweet from Ken. I don't know if you know Ken on Twitter, but trying to get him on the show sometime soon. That'll be fun. This is his tweet. He's talking about the number of touches taken in the game by various players. Yang 85, Johnston 156, O'Reilly 113. Contrast with Maeda 38 and Taylor 72. Shows just how much we went down the right-hand side. And of course he signs it off, Ken. Mickey, that right-hand side, it was all about the right-hand side, wasn't it? There was so much joy down there.
It was all about the right-hand side, especially the first half, obviously. It was just flying. There must have been something magical on that side of the pitch last night. The way, I think it was the way the rain was falling on the right-hand side. Did you notice it was kind of raining that way? It seemed to make it wetter. It just went faster.
Here's Kaiser asking if Ken does come on, will he say Ken at the end of all of his comments on the show?
Oh,
that would be interesting.
like a
so Michael's kind of Michael in Glasgow is obviously the sports journalist among us. So the Johnson Yang relationship, you were talking earlier about the relationship on the other side. How excited are you for the Johnson Yang relationship from now until the end of the season? Do you think that's something we're going to go with?
Well, I spoke to Johnston the other day there, and he's a very chatty player, AlistairJohnston. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. And he was waxing lyrical about Yang, and Yang's born in 2002. He even wanted to point that out, that Yang's an incredible young talent for his age, and people forget that. And with Johnston, for me, he just looks like a completely different player. I'm not saying he was bad last season at all. The opposite, he was a great addition to the squad, but he looks far greater in his attacking threat. And that's something we're badly going to need in the second half of the season. And he's popping up with big assists, particularly. And Yang just seems to give him more comfortability to move where he wants to. Whereas with Maeda, I think Maeda was a little bit more questionable in his runs. But whereas Maeda looks comfortable on the left. So those two are just building an incredible relationship, especially with the three of them, O'Reilly as well, feeding the balls, Yang getting on the ball. For me, Yang just looks completely unpredictable. I don't think at times Yang knows what he's going to do next, and that's just deadly for the opposition. Even that ball Yang plays to Kelly along the box, I didn't see that coming. Kelly makes the run onto the ball. It's incredible. For me, Yang is just such a creative player. He adds that spark. And for the only thing that people is going to question about Yang is his consistency. We've all seen he's a talented player. Even when he came on earlier in the season, he gets that crucial assist against Aberdeen at Pittodrie. People forget that, and that was down the left-hand side. And as Danno speaks about, he can move on to either wing. But personally, I think he just looks incredible down the right-hand side with him and Johnston. I'm sure Johnston speaks to him plenty about what he likes to do in the pitch, and it's just incredible to see two players stepping up when we need them most. It's February. This is a business end of the season. People like to forget that. Or the season isn't won in January.
So, I mean, what happened with Yang at the Asian Cup, Danno? I mean, he's come back a totally different player. It's a bit reminiscent of Maeda when he came back from, was it the World Cup?
The World Cup.
Maeda was suddenly showing all sorts of different elements to his game.
Yeah, I'm not sure because he didn't get that many appearances or anything, but I think maybe it just kind of got him some home cooking and got him some good training in his own language type of thing, even though it was on the road, it was in the Middle East. But something about it, man. But you're training with Son and all these other guys. I mean, Yang and guys like they've grown up with Son Heung-min as like their hero. So to be on the same team as them, it gives a player confidence. So maybe that's it. But I agree with Michael. He's just a really unpredictable player, and he can both run with the ball and pass really, really well. He's going to be a talent, man.